My 100th 2023 new release brings the most predictable review you've ever seen from this account. But bear with me while I get down to the rub. Now firstly, I just want to quickly say thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you find it moderately interesting, please think about leaving a like and checking out my other projects like my feature film shooting right now, or my podcast, The Film Draft, where my co-host Jacob and I, we draft our top 5 films in each different categories every single week. We drop on a Monday, with a revolving door of special guests, and then vote on who wins. That's on Spotify, Apple Music, iHeart, platforms like that, so you can go check that out. So thank you again, and now let's get into The Killer.
Simple.
The Killer is the new David Fincher thriller, and with all honesty on the table, this man is my favourite director. I love and am constantly influenced by his film language and his ethos. So of course I went to the first screening I could find for this, which was incredibly hard, thank you Netflix, and this review is incredibly biased. But I think The Killer on the surface is what most folks will come looking for and then walk away fine with. An incredibly sleek, stylish, and moderately violent, when compared to David's other work, revenge thriller with terrific performances. Fincher is always going to deliver a masterclass in craft, that's just a given now. And of course, film is subjective, so you'll get people that also don't like it, that's fine too. This is David Fincher's most personal film, and I think the tech and the story and themes are really what portrays that and what delivers that message, and that's what I'm going to be telling you about today. Let's start with the tech. The score is predictably incredible. It's a classically tech-inspired synth by Ross and Reznor that adds instruments and style as the film develops, and match that with some truly inspired sound editing inside of the film, like the way the editor uses a 7.1 and then switches to stereo, to mono, to left to right, and then back again, all within one scene, all within a matter of shots, was revelatory to listen to and truly enhanced an already amazing experience. The editing is obviously ridiculously impressive, being this is a Fincher film also. It is well paced, and there's a fight scene which felt like a child fighting an elephant in a china shop, and I was truly scared in the cinema watching this Hulk-like blows being thrown around by the brute in an apartment. All because of how snappy and violent the editing was, how it was blocked, how it was paced, and the choreography, so well done to everyone involved in that. The editing also heavily incorporates the elements of what makes a graphic novel or graphic novel. Its chapter titles, the way David uses left to right pans like we're reading a panel, and the scene transitions blend like we're turning over a page. The screen direction and cinematography is also incredible. Nobody these days blocks a location and then moves within it like David Fincher. It has the staples of his style, the smooth slides, the pans and tilts that follow character velocity to the millisecond, and the juxtaposing cool and pale color palettes. I've hardly seen a movie more objectively crisp than The Killer, and outside of what I've talked about, Fincher actually surprised me in this film, both technically and philosophically. His craft pushes itself, and it goes a little further than just being great for great's sake, which I will get into soon. Now let's talk about the themes and story. The themes are almost Fight Club-esque, the ones that are inherently present in the way they're delivered, in such as heavily incorporating and by proxy making culpable industry titans such as McDonald's, Uber, Apple, Amazon, those lemon fucking scooters, and tech in general. This cynical look into the modern day world and how everyday contemporary tech can be exploited without anyone noticing or paying attention because of how everyone uses it every single day. You just blend in, is genuinely refreshing, considering what we usually get is characters who either exclusively stick to an unholy blend of traditionalist cheesy tech, and then also simultaneously embrace new and dystopian technology like it's the absolute fucking key to existence and will fix everything. And I do like some of those franchises, but they are getting tiresome. Kevin Andrew Walker, the penman of Seven, adapted Mance and Luke Giacomon's 1998 graphic novel Long Few. Side note, Luke Giacomon did the art, lettering, and coloring in this book. Like, what the fuck? Hell yeah, my talented king. That is amazing. Anyway, this depiction of the story follows Fassbender as the killer, a man who is incredibly surgical when it comes to his craft, who believes the mundanity of routines is what delivers precision and perfection, and who takes a cynical and emotionally detached approach to everything in order to fulfill the job to the best of his ability. But when things spiral out of control in a way they never have before, the stakes cross a line from professional into personal for the first time. Why do these combine to make Fincher's most personal film? Well, if you delve a little bit deeper into what I just talked about, you start finding the gravy. This is Fincher's most self-challenging and personal film to date because of what I just said. The story is about a man who is incredibly surgical when it comes to his craft, who believes the mundanity of routines is what delivers precision and perfection, and who takes a cynical and emotionally detached approach to everything in order to fulfill the job to the best of his ability. Does that remind you of anyone? I love to think that this tale spoke to Fincher in a way not much material has, which is why he's wanted to adapt it for a very, very long time. Fincher pushes himself in this film when his character has to push himself. When something deeply tragic happens to the killer, Fincher pivots into a filmmaking style we haven't seen from him before, really, allowing poignancy and a shaky camera to breathe into the frame. For example, Fincher's film Gone Girl, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Zodiac, Social Network, all have combined less than 20 handheld shots between them. And certainly none of them go far as to incorporate shaky cam. A lack of heart and soul is a deliberate approach that Fincher takes to get the message of his art across more powerfully. But here, when the killer thinks his partner may have been taken from him, there's more than 20 shaky cam shots in one scene. When the killer's life is upended and challenged, when he finally needs to try something new, which is against his mantra, while still completing a job perfectly, Fincher matches that philosophy with his trademark beauty, as well as simultaneously adding some tricks to the bag. This really shook me, and the trademark and methodical style works in both pushing our character forward and letting us see into his pessimistic, detached psyche early on in the film, and then as the killer begins to grow and change, it will be subliminal for most. But the film lets those who are looking know that Fincher is open to doing the same, and by the end, maybe something new has the potential to be born. Both in the proverbial diegetic and non-diegetic ways, I was deeply moved by this film, granted probably more than most people will be, and I cannot wait to see what Fincher does next, and I bet it won't be something we expect. A quick PSA, Netflix, I know David has 2 films left with you, and I'm glad you're greenlighting these mid to high budget adult dramas that studios are for some reason scared to fund these days, even though Gone Girl made a gaggle of money. But please, give his next film a better chance in theaters. Again, thank you so much for checking out this video. If you agree with me, if you have your own views, what did you think of The Killer? Please let me know in the comments. I'm genuinely really curious to see what you think. Again, if you want more from me, check out my feature film that we're working on, or my podcast, The Film Draft. We're working really hard on that. We're having a lot of fun. Like and subscribe if you want, and until the next one, goodbye.